The pioneering spirit is nothing new to agriculture, as innovation has made farming in America the most productive and technologically advanced in the world. Yet, tomorrow will present a new set of challenges that'll require new ideas, inventions, and innovations. That is what Farm Next is all about, showing you the future of farming. From autonomous robots to cutting-edge digital tools to better ways to fertilize your crops and increase soil health, this program will give you a glimpse of the exciting future agriculture has in store. Stay tuned to see what's next on Farm Next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Farm Next. I'm Max Armstrong, and I'm thrilled to be a part of giving you a front row seat into what's next in the world of agriculture. Before we get to what's next, let's talk about a transformational technology that's here right now, microbes that can replace nitrogen fertilizer. Not that many years ago, the co-founders of Pivot Bio dreamed of creating a better way to provide nitrogen to crops. And like the inventors you'll hear from today, they dedicated time, effort, and capital to turn their dream into a reality. Today, Pivot Bio's products deliver nitrogen to corn, wheat, and sorghum and have been used by farmers across the country. Pivot Bio knows just how challenging it is to transform an idea into a product and to get it into the hands of farmers. So Pivot Bio, together with Farm Progress, scoured the country and found 10 entrepreneurs with the potential to be that next big idea for the future of agriculture. Each of these companies is vying for a chance to showcase their idea at this year's Farm Progress Show in Boone, Iowa. In each episode, you'll see these cutting-edge innovations in action. You'll meet the brilliant minds behind each idea, and you'll learn more as each participant presents their ideas to leaders in investing, agribusiness, and farming. And you, our audience, can vote live during the show whether you think each idea has what it takes to appear at the Farm Progress Show. You'll do that by going to pivotbio.com/vote. There you can enter to win a VIP package to the Farm Progress Show. In today's episode of Farm Next, we take a look at Plains Technologies. That's a startup based in Lincoln, Nebraska that has developed an autonomous robotic platform to help growers plant their cover crops during harvest. By providing an autonomous solution at one of the busiest times of the year, this technology could help unlock the potential of cover crops on acres across the country. Stay tuned to learn about Plains Technologies, but first, here's a short video about Pivot Bio. Take a look.
6:45 in the morning with a chance of showers.
Farmers have always taken care of what they value. Through hard work and resilience, they cultivated bountiful land. As the country grew, great revelations led to a green revolution, one that helped feed the world. Then it happened. Fewer hands worked the land, while more lived off it. Yet farmers took on the challenge. They pivoted, improved, and fed a nation hungry for progress. As Americans dialed up, farmers dialed in. Precision on the farm led to yields once thought impossible. But when it came to nitrogen, it wasn't precise or predictable enough. Not for the farmer, the crop, nor the environment. Today, Pivot Bio provides a better way to deliver a more dependable and productive nitrogen in the field, while giving growers a new tool to take care of what matters most. Farmers deserve a nitrogen worthy of who they are and what their land can provide. And now there is one. It's time to turn to a better nitrogen.
Welcome back to Farm Next, the show that gives you a front row seat into what's next in the world of agriculture. In today's episode of Farm Next, we take a look at Plains Technologies. That's a startup that is based in Lincoln, Nebraska. They have developed an autonomous robotic platform that'll help growers plant cover crops during harvest, and it'll do much more. Before we meet Santosh Pitla and Ian Templemeyer, co-founders of Plains Technologies, here's a short video about the company from the field.
Farmers have a very difficult job. They're in charge of 100 different things on any given day. So we want to simplify some of the things they do.
Talking to some collaborating producers, we found that producers really run out of time during the harvest season. Some of them quoted like, hey, if you have a robotic system that can follow our combine and do cover crop seeding, that will be a really nice system. Then we don't have to think about how to find additional labor during busy seasons.
We are hoping to improve nitrogen inputs into the soil, and we plan to attack that problem with our autonomous robot here. So that might include following a combine through after it's gone and harvested, let's say a corn crop, something that leaches nitrogen from the soil. We can dump certain legume cover crops into the ground, which will improve the soil health for the next year.
Right now, cover crop seeding is done by broadcasting the seed, and with that, the problem is you don't have an effective seed to soil contact. So that's why if you have a robotic system that can actually precisely drill the cover crop, you will have a really good success. I think the biggest value is the timeliness of operation, especially for cover crop seeding. You really have very short time windows before it gets very cold. The machine can run 24/7 and do its thing with minimal supervision.
It's not just specific to one function. We want it to be able to accomplish any number of tasks that a farmer might interact with.
Over the last 10-15 years, we have seen GPS used in farming. Today, farmers give AB lines and your tractors follow the AB lines. It's an auto steer, but why not go to the next step, right? Why not remove the operator from the machine so that we can free up time for the producers so they can be doing other operations.
As farming industry grew and grew and grew over the last 100 years, farm equipment got bigger and bigger and bigger. It's inefficient in some manners. Not every task on the farm needs a 600 horsepower tractor. You're trying to spray crop out there, or you're trying to drag a trailer through the field. It just doesn't make sense to be using that big gas guzzler when a 50 horse equivalent of a smaller vehicle could do the same thing. And if that's not enough, we have multiple machines we could implement in the same field to achieve that same goal that your 600 horsepower tractor would be doing in the first place.
I'm very excited about how user-friendly our robotic system is. I get comments from farmers and producers that, hey, can we buy this? We want to use this because there's an internal combustion engine, there is hydraulics, and you have smarts with sensors, and these are all user-friendly and we can use it on the farm. I'm very confident about the agriculture industry adapting because we are now talking about artificial intelligence and AI and robotics in agriculture. Farmers are going to take it only if it has a return on investment. So we want to collaboratively work with farmers.
We've networked with 20 or 30 farmers. We've listened to their voices, seen what they like, seen what they don't like, and we're trying to adapt to better fit their needs. And we're just looking to grow from there.
With us now on Farm Next, the co-founders of Plains Technologies. We have Santosh Pitla and Ian Templemeyer. Welcome to both of you gentlemen here. First, let's find out about you. Santosh, your background, you graduated from college in India, but have advanced degrees in the United States, I understand.
Yes, Max, thanks for having us. It's a pleasure. Yeah, so I got my PhD in agriculture engineering from University of Kentucky, and then after that I went to Ohio State for 1 year as a researcher, and I started at University of Nebraska-Lincoln as a professor, and I teach and do research there right now.
You enjoy the teaching?
Yes, absolutely.
I can imagine.
That's my favorite part.
Ian Templemeyer, tell us about yourself.
Yes, born and raised Lincoln, Nebraska, true fan of UNL. I got my undergrad in ag engineering here a couple of years ago and pursued on my master's, where I met up with Dr. Pitla here, and he's been a great advisor and mentor towards me.
You enjoyed pairing together?
It's been a good mesh here, yes.
Absolutely.
Tell us about Plains Technologies. Santosh, give us some of the background here.
Yeah, so Plains Technologies, our goal is how to bring robotic technologies to farmers, how to bring farmer-friendly robotic solutions to the field so that we can be more productive in doing automated operations. And one of our first product we are looking at is a cover crop planter. And we are going to use that and our robotic platform in combination to be very efficient in the field. Yeah.
Ian, talk about how this works at harvest time. What does this really address for that individual grower that might be interested in this kind of robotic platform?
That is a great question, Max. So the main goal we're trying to achieve here is to supplement nitrogen needs to the farmer for the upcoming year. As a lot of farmers found out this past year, nitrogen has been getting very expensive. One thing we can do to address that is by planting cover crops to fixate some of that nitrogen for the upcoming year. The hard thing about that is here in the northern half of the Midwest is the growing season is much shorter, where it might be like say North Carolina. And so the need for cover crop to get into the field as quickly as possible as the corn comes out is becoming increasingly more crucial. That's what we're hoping to address here, is by getting that cover crop in as soon as possible without taxing more labor and time onto the farmer.
So this would allow them to come in right behind the combine, do I understand you correctly?
That is correct. Yes, autonomous. So we're hoping to achieve hands-free technology here, where this robot can do what you or I might be able to do in a tractor, but at its own accord.
Santosh, was there a particular moment when you said, hey, this is really something we need to address? We have the opportunity here.
Yeah, as part of my research, I've been working on autonomous robotic machinery over the last 5 years, and then now we have a very practical, solid robotic platform, and we were trying to find use cases. And talking to producers, we thought the cover crop seeding is one of the important ones. We all know cover crops are good for soil health, but what are the technology tools out there that can easily drill the cover crops in the field? It was important. And just broadcasting is not enough. The proper seed to soil contact is very important. So that's why we thought, okay, why not use a robotic platform to do precise robotic cover crop seeding?
Santosh, from the standpoint of why this is a good time for this piece of equipment, how would you address that? What would you say?
Yeah, so we're seeing labor issues is a big thing. So it's hard to find skilled labor in the rural areas. So if we can have automated tools that can do this, accurately and precisely, I think we could improve the economics of operation. And also thinking about climate smart agriculture, right? So we need to have technology tools to be able to take care of the soil and the environment in general. So that's why I think it's a right time,
The two of you are passionate about this, I can tell, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Ian?
Indeed. It's a lot of joy, growing up, working on machinery, myself, my family, and then getting through college and realizing we can make a difference here. And then finally understanding people that could use this technology. It's just a great clash of ideas, thought process, and usability.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it. Well, now that we've learned how Plains Technologies got to where they are today, our panel will scope out where the company could be heading next when we return after these brief messages.
Pivot Bio is changing the way we grow our food.
Every plant on this planet needs sun, water, and nitrogen.
Nitrogen is the fourth most abundant element in any living organism.
Everything the plant needs, everything the plant produces, contains nitrogen.
About 100 years ago, we had a growing population, we had the need to grow more food. We realized that by producing nitrogen fertilizer in gigantic centralized factories, we could then distribute it to all of these farms.
We've been able to feed a growing population simply because we are able to produce nitrogen and deliver it to crops.
But we're now starting to see a lot of the really detrimental effect on our environment.
It's a process entirely dependent on fossil fuels.
It consumes a huge quantity of carbon and releases that into the atmosphere just to make the nitrogen that you have in the fertilizer.
As a farmer, fertilizer can be one of the biggest headaches. Fertilizer can be both expensive and also inconsistent in performance. Only about half of the fertilizer that gets applied to a field ends up being fuel for a crop. The rest is lost to the environment.
And that can pollute the water, can even volatilize into the air and create greenhouse gas emission as well.
So we have these inherent inefficiencies that make it challenging for every farmer to generate enough food for the planet. And we can do better.
Pivot Bio is a nitrogen innovator because it's a new way for us to help farmers fertilize their crops reliably. Pivot is leading the charge in being able to produce nitrogen on demand, to spoon feed it to the crop on a daily basis.
We are the pioneers of a nitrogen-producing microbe that can be delivered at scale to farmers that is providing an alternative to synthetic fertilizer.
We've built a disruptive product. It changes everything. It's in use across millions of acres today.
It's always there. It's always working. You can count on it. I know that nitrogen is going to be there.
That's where there's a really neat play with farmers. You get to marry both the economics as a farmer and the environmental side of things.
The potential of this technology is limitless. What we're doing here can change agriculture as we know it.
Fertilizer has been the cutting-edge technology for the last 100 years. It's hit a limit. At Pivot, we've innovated the nitrogen that will power the next 100 years of agriculture.
Welcome back to Farm Next, and we're now at the final portion of today's program, our panel examination. Joining me is Karsten Temme, who is co-founder of Pivot Bio. Tom Carlson, an entrepreneur and investor in the agriculture industry. And finally, Lisa Peterson, who is a farmer from Osage, Iowa. Welcome to the show, panelists. Before we get into the discussion here and quizzing of our entrepreneurs here at the desk with me, I'd come to you first, Karsten, about your path to this point and why you're excited about talking with these folks.
We've had a chance to talk a little bit about Pivot today, and for me, it's great to connect with fellow entrepreneurs. It's all about being able to take and identify problems that are challenges we face in agriculture, connect those with ideas, and really turn that into something that can change everything.
Tom, at the Rural American Fund, you have the opportunity to help finance agriculture. You've done some of that already, have you not?
I sure have, and this is a great opportunity to meet some great early stage new companies and evaluate their strategies and try to bring some of our learnings to the table. I mean, we historically have invested in different companies on the front end of the supply chain, so seed companies, chemical companies, things like that, but I'm really excited to learn more about companies like Plains Technologies.
Lisa Peterson, you are on the farm in Iowa. Tell us about your background and your farm.
Well, my background was spent in sales and strategic consulting before moving back to the farm about 9 years ago. And so now run a couple ag businesses as well from the farm. And from what Karsten said, you know, he's excited about the entrepreneurship, the beginning side of it. I'm excited about, I'm the end user. And, you know, the technologies that are being developed will be used on our farm hopefully someday soon.
Karsten, you want to start off here and start asking some questions of these two?
Well, I'd love to. Santosh, Ian, thanks for joining us. And I guess one question I have, as I look around, I see a lot of new robotics companies and autonomous technologies coming into the conversation. So what makes you unique? What do you think is the focus you bring that might not be found elsewhere?
Yeah, so thanks for that great question, Karsten. So, you know, when you talk about robotics, it's a people think it's a very complex system, right? So, and when we bring robotics in agriculture, it has to be very user-friendly for adoption. So our mission is to create farmer-friendly robotic solutions that are practical and feasible, that farmers can easily use and interact and also repair by themselves.
There's a lot of applications for robotics in the agricultural space.
Yep.
How would you define your company's skill set? Because it seems like there's a lot of different ways your skill set could be applied. And businesses, based on my experience over time, you kind of have to narrow it down a little bit and prioritize. How would you prioritize the opportunities?
So I would say we are unique. We are a university startup company here, and so we have a lot of channeling through the university, we can essentially pick and choose the different skill sets we need. So if we need embedded systems controllers, we need computer science engineers, mechanical engineers, obviously agronomists, we can get input from all of those different groups to gain the most developed product we are looking to achieve.
You know, as a farmer, and I'm sitting here and looking at it, hey, this could potentially be a great farm, time saver for me of being able to be, once you get to the autonomous. But what timeline is that from? Right now, you're still at the beginning stages. Where do you see it actually being in production and commercialized?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So the approach we are taking is we have a user group and a developer group. So your user group would be the end producers, and developer group would be our current collaborative producers who want to experiment with new technologies. So we want to follow that approach so that we can get more feedback on our system. And also we want to find out, what are they willing to pay for this so that it's actually profitable for their operation. So in the next 2 years, we want to give our product to all our beta testers and learn from it. And in year 3, 4, and 5, we want to actually get to the real product, to everyone.
One of the things that stood out to me in your video, you talked about having those conversations with growers and the learning that comes from that conversation. It seemed to me that there might be more than just cover crops that could be tackled with your platform. So what have you picked up on those conversations that might expand what you could do?
So there is a lot of opportunity here for this platform to be used in a number of different situations. One thing that we are working and talking with agronomists about is soil sampling. Obviously, that is very key into understanding what's going on in your field and what nutrients you might need to implement over time. So they expressed a lot of interest in being able to drive out into the middle of the field be sitting in their office, send this robot out, collect that sample, all while staying in the AC. So.
Yeah, and also one other big operation is on targeted weed. A lot of companies are working on this targeted weed identification. So, but our vision is this robot could be in the field 24/7 looking for problems. It doesn't have to go high speed, right? So it is a field scout. It's a high-tech field scout. That's how I look at it. And it has a suite of sensors. It has robotic arms, and it could collect both soil and leaf samples if needed. So anything that we could do to advance our efforts towards climate smart agriculture, we can do that, and this could be a really good technology tool.
How do you see that you differentiate in the marketplace between some others that are trying to do robotics and some of the autonomous field work?
I think we're the right size. What I've noticed is a lot of these field robots are quite compact, quite small. They're not as robust as farmers are probably looking for, but it's a nice minimization from their large-scale tractors that already are obviously field equipment. And so I think that is a more reasonable use to a farmer having this mid-size robot in their field.
Have you thought about how many robots you need per so many acres for a farmer to keep them efficient and still moving through it? You said you're not a high speed.
Right, and so the size robot we're using right now is about 4,000 pounds. This machine can run 24/7, and so you can use it over a larger area comparatively. So we can collectively use multiple robots to achieve the same idea.
Are there other product ideas in the pipeline that are logically applicable to your skill set?
Yeah, so like seeding, cover crop seeding is our first, and then how do we do targeted nitrogen application, which is a very important operation, especially with the increasing cost of fertilizer, right? How can we do very targeted nitrogen? So I tell some of my collaborators and colleagues, in precision agriculture, we talk about pounds per acre, right? Still, acre is pretty big, So how can we get to, let's say, milligrams or grams per plant? Can we get to that level, right? I think there are possibilities like that with a robotic platform and a swarm technology. So,
I was intrigued by some of your comments on maybe some of the scouting applications that could be possible. And it seems like that the development path you're on might lend itself well to having some early partners or customers on the scouting side as you're building towards the business that serves a lot of growers.
So we've already proven application with phenotyping here. So that is one thing. So while there are drones out there that allow you to get the 10,000 foot view sort of thing, this product allows you to get 5 foot. It's
plant level information.
Plant level, which is and sometimes a lot more applicable than wading half-mile out into a bean field to track down a target area.
And also the ability to collect actual samples, which drones cannot do. I mean, maybe in the future when drones get bigger, that is possible, but the ability to pick soil samples, the ability to pick even plant tissue samples, so these could be really good, our product could be a really good technology tool for, researchers, but also agronomists and, a lot of other people who are trying to do things better in the field. So,
are you more of a software business or an equipment design business? I'm trying to put you sort of in a bucket, but I'm trying to understand, the most value-added parts of your business and how you would evaluate it.
Yeah, I would say that we're in the business of a smart engineered system. Like there's software, there's hardware. How do they seamlessly integrate? I think that's what is missing today. A lot of times software happens on this side, hardware happens in that. Then they figure out, how to. So we are trying to seamlessly integrate that. So yeah, to your point, I think we are a smart ag tech company that is in a very innovative way integrating software and hardware. Yeah.
I wish we did have more time. Santosh, Ian, thank you so much for being with us here to share your story. We wish you the best. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we thank you for joining us here, too, along with our panelists. We want to remind our audience that we'd love to know what you think of Plains Technologies. Go to pivotbio.com/vote. And there you can enter to win a VIP pass to the Farm Progress Show in Boone, Iowa. You can also view other episodes of this show. And finally, plan to come visit us at the Farm Next Innovation Tent at the Farm Progress Show, August 30th through September 1st in Boone, Iowa. That's all our time today. Join us next time on Farm Next, the show that gives you a front row seat to what's next in the world of agriculture.
Farm Next has been brought to you by Pivot Bio. Pivot Bio, the nitrogen that stays put, whether or not. Farm Next is produced by 22 Creative Group in association with REL Productions and has been a presentation of Farm Progress Broadcast. If you'd like more information about Farm Next, please visit pivotbio.com/farmnext.